And go.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Heartland Mamas. I'm Murri.
And I'm Heidi Henry coming to you from our separate studios at the edge of the Great Red Divide. Marie and I are doing social distancing, so we can't be in the same place at the same time. And today, our show is going to be about how do we occupy our time when we can't do anything else but stay at home.
Okay, and
So,
there are a couple of different types of people we need to discuss, Heidi.
yeah, well,
We need to discuss Karen. Okay,
Karen, okay,
Karen. We need to discuss Becky.
Becky,
All right.
all right,
Then we need to discuss the bad moms like me.
okay. And,
People handle this very differently, and it's okay wherever you fall on the spectrum. Let's start off by saying that. I find myself, the longer quarantine goes on, getting a little judgy. So I see somebody who's like, me, oh, I'm commenting on everything. No, no, don't look at me. And you're just like, oh my God. But I know really they're probably having some sort of psychological breakdown because of this whole thing.
right.
So I try to be a little more understanding, but is it wrong that I see that, know what they're doing, and just want to punch them in the face?
Well,
Is that
there are
wrong?
people who were attention hogs before are going to be even more so now because now that's how they get their validation, right? So it's by saying, look at me,"
Hmm.
and that's okay. People are like that, and and different people cope with isolation differently. As a farmer, nothing has changed for me. I am still taking care of the animals every day, cleaning the barns, planting the garden. We're not near to plant yet, but we're.
See, and growing up rural, growing
Hmm.
up as a farmer, growing up out in the woods, I and maybe it's my age too. I didn't have cable. We didn't have
No.
MTV. Like being out and like it came around when I was a teenager, I think, with cable, but we were on antenna. We did I was so seriously
Yeah,
like
I remember
I
we were too when we
I
moved out here.
yeah, so to me, I always was able to find something to do, and that's kind of what I did with my kids.
Hmm.
Now, my ideal vision when I wanted to be a Becky, or thought I thought I wanted to be a Becky,
What's a
was, the perfect
uh
mom,
huh?
cricket making, crafting,
That was
every
not me.
holiday celebrate. Yeah, right? Like that was never me, but they are out there,
Hmm.
and or you get these great ideas that you think are so great on articles or groups, and they just don't quite come to fruition. And I think when you truly become a mother is when you go, yeah, let's be realistic about what this
Right,
means.
right.
So like look at Easter for us.
Oh yes,
So a lot of
please tell
uh,
everybody what you did for Easter because it would never have crossed my mind to do this at all.
I'm gonna have to put that little video up on YouTube, on our channel, because
Hmm.
I'm a terrible video editor. I need to take a class or something. If anybody wants to jump in and make that cool for me, that would be great. Because I don't know how to do that stuff clearly. But okay, so I'm gonna tell you the whole story here.
Yeah.
About a week and a half before Easter, I started to panic because we are not particularly religious people.
Yes.
So Easter doesn't mean anything to me. I don't follow Lent or the I don't know whatever the hell you're supposed to follow. I don't do it.
So do you still
So,
celebrate Easter even though it's a religious holiday?
well, I'll tell you what we did this year
Okay.
exactly. So, we don't celebrate Easter per se. We celebrate we get you get a basket. Like last year they got cleaning supplies in their basket, laundry detergent, because
Wow.
I told them happy Easter, you're doing your own laundry. Do your shit. So, here's some cleaning supplies for your bathroom. Use them wisely. You need more, let me know. That's what the Easter Bunny brought last year.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
We're a very practical Easter family.
Yeah.
So Easter's not a big deal. And all of a sudden, with being with the stay at home order and the kids starting school and having some sort of spring break, I was so out of sorts that I thought that it was Easter that weekend.
Oh, I
So
remember
realizing
Palm
it was,
Sunday weekend. You thought it was Easter
I thought
weekend.
it
I
was
remember
Easter.
talking about it. Yeah.
Yeah, oh, I think I forgot about it as Easter. So I was like, oh shit, I'm only getting out this once. What can I do? And I instantly went to Pandemic Hunger Games. So as I'm going through Target, I'm socially distancing. I had essentials to get. I wasn't there browsing people. And I was grabbing things for the cart, like that I knew the boys would be practical and like. So, of course, I got them some chocolate bunnies, but I also got
Mhm.
just like some Easter candy, toilet paper, life straws, compasses. And I'm like, all right, I'm not even freaking doing baskets. I'm not doing eggs. This is bullshit. So I took a big tub and put everything in the big tub
Uh-huh.
and then made them battle royale for what was in the tub. So we set up Nerf guns all around the outside of the bounty, like in the Hunger Games.
Uh-huh.
And everyone had to have, in their costume and attire for what they wanted it to look
So there
like.
were no Easter bonnets and cute little gloves or little neckties.
No,
No?
no, 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 no. There was none of that. This was some dystopian looking crap coming down the street. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
So then we let the games begin, and you ran to the center, and you could grab a Nerf gun, and then you had to go back to your base and go back and get something. But if you got shot, you had to drop the item, and it became fair game, and you had to
Oh.
go back to your base and start over.
Yeah.
So the toilet paper became the coveted item, and it turned into a pandemic capture the flag more so with toilet
Okay.
paper. But it was hilarious. So
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
I see things a little twisted now.
Well,
While Heidi, you are sweet and light and sunshine, I am dark, twisted soul.
well, we
So you have to excuse me.
but the thing is you also have boys, and if Easter's not a religious holiday for you, then why not have some fun with it? You know, I bought a chocolate bunny and some Hershey Kisses for my daughter, but she's 25. And
Right.
it was like, oh, and I bought myself a bag of black jelly beans because I love those.
So you didn't make your children battle for candy on Easter?
No, well, one lives
Oh,
two
I
hours
did.
2 hours to the west of me, and I sent him something. I mailed him something, and I'm not even sure if he's gotten it because he hasn't said anything. And then the other one just kind of sleepily got out of bed and said, "Oh, you got me a dark chocolate one instead of a milk chocolate." I'm like, "It was not on purpose." I just was trying to grab things and making it look like I was grabbing it something essential, at the Jewel. So yeah, I mean, my when my kids were small, we hid chocolate all over the house, and Rebecca wore little white patent leather shoes and little white gloves and a cute little hat, and my son always had a new, dress shirt and tie. But my kids also served at church as acolytes or chalice bearers or whatever position they were in. So, and we do the whole Lent thing. It's a big deal, in an Episcopalian household, and we follow all those religious parameters. And yeah, I miss that. That's why I have Cookie the pony, which we talked about in our pre-show. I have a pony in case I ever have grandkids. Well, it doesn't look like it's happening, and Cookie may or may not need a new home soon because it's just big giant me driving her with her little cart down the road. But that's how I see my neighbors, and I wave to them as we're driving by. And she's a little fancy high stepping pony, so she's super super cute. That's the one
Okay,
your
so
son loves.
Heidi, I have to tell you something.
Yeah.
I think somebody is screwing with me.
Why?
I think someone is screwing with me because I know for a fact that I have cleaned my bookshelves. It, in our family room, we have bookshelves that are like a built-in with the television and then the shelves on both sides.
Okay.
I know I have dusted them, polished them. I know the boys have done it. I know they have been done 100
Uh
times.
huh.
I did no Easter eggs this year. Not one plastic Easter egg.
No?
I was dusting them. I found a green plastic Easter egg. And it wasn't all that dusty. Or either that or everyone had dusted it for a year and just left it there. Or someone is screwing with me in my house. Someone is just putting random eggs that we didn't have this year around to see how long it takes Mom to lose her shit.
That
Telling you,
could
it's
be.
probably happening
Yeah.
right now.
Well, I want to talk a little bit about some things that people can do with their kids that are outside of the box because I grew up in
You're
this.
talking to the right person
Yeah.
here.
Well, I wanted to talk about some of the things I did back in the 60s before when I was little because I am that old. Before we had tablets and iPhones, and really we didn't have much TV, and my mother never let us watch TV. So she had five of us within 7 years of each other. So we were always like she always was nursing one or changing a diaper on another or yelling at another. So I don't know how she did it because I'm one of seven, but I've got like really far bookend siblings, and then there's this mass of five of us right in the middle. And my parents, I don't know if they had money or not. I don't remember doing without anything ever. And my dad traveled a lot. Pops was an engineer. He was a mechanical engineer. And anytime somebody needed something weird done, fixed, or changed, they would call him. And he would go out of town. I mean, he was in the Netherlands one time for 2.5 months. He was in Youngstown, Ohio, like all week, every week, and coming home on the weekends for better part of a year. We moved to Provo and then to San Francisco for one of his jobs because he was going to be gone all summer. And we lived in San Francisco in the 60s, and my parents were white bread Republicans back then.
I remember these stories. I
Yeah.
believe I've heard a couple
I,
of these.
so at Haight Ashbury, where like it's like where all the hippies were at, but that was a tourist attraction too. So anyway, but my mother had to be super creative because we had this huge old Dutch colonial in Elmhurst, and multiple stories and people running everywhere. So my mom had a corner cabinet like built-ins in the dining room, and the one cabinet was like the craft cabinet, but we only got to use that craft cabinet when we didn't have a pandemic, but when she couldn't make us go outside or down in the
Right,
basement.
right,
So
right, right.
she would get stuff out.
That
Now,
was her last resort.
that
That was
was
her, I'm busting out the bottle of bourbon.
my mom.
Don't talk to me, cabinet.
Well,
That's what it was.
my
It's
mother
because
doesn't
she had
never drank.
nothing else. You think she didn't drink.
No, I know
Your
she didn't.
sainted mother was outside on the stoop taking a snip. Trust me, she was.
Well, I have to
She
tell
told me
you,
so.
both my parents were raised by alcoholics, so no, they never drank. Neither one of them. It was a big taboo. But anyway, so my mom had no, we all had fancy boxes of crayons that we would get every year, to go to school. And she would take
Oh,
those
those are
crayons, we'd
great.
bring them home like little bits and pieces, and she'd put them in this like shirt box, and it had a big rubber band around it. So it was all these little pieces of crayons. And she would but we loved it when she'd get the crayon box out. It was like, wow. And then the round edge scissors were in the crayon box too. So she had those. She'd been a Sunday school teacher, so she knew how to do craft stuff. She just didn't do it with us too often. She would also do, like there was little bits of fabric and buttons and glitter and sequins in there. And she would get it out and she would tell us a story and we would do a craft project with the story. And again, I'm going to make another religious reference. One of our favorites was Noah's Ark. So we would draw the little animals, and then God sent a rainbow. So we did a lot of rainbows, and she would tape them up along the door frames all over the house, and we would have our art out there. But and the other thing we used to do is we didn't have a lot of stuff. We had Barbies, but we had to make our own Barbie houses. So she would get big boxes at the grocery store and cut off the flaps. And then we could go down into my dad's workshop and pick out paint. We could paint the inside and make windows and stuff and a door.
We used to do, yep,
Did you?
yep.
And we would make
Hmm.
chairs and
Oh,
sofas and
yeah.
all kinds of stuff. And I mean, we would play with that not just for one full day, but we would play with it
For
for days and
days.
days and weeks on end. And as I
Yes.
got older, it turned into stables with little plastic horses in them. But I'm just, parents, when you're at home and you just are out of stuff to do, you have to step outside the box and let your kid be creative. they I know kids would rather spend time on tablets and phones and stuff all the time, but and Murray's pixelated here. Murray, are you pixelated at your end? No? Okay, so hopefully we're okay. And I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. Our producer lives 2 hours away, so I have to send it to him to clean up if we mess up. But let your kids play with paint and glue. We had paste when I was a kid, and teach them to sew. And if you don't know how to sew, watch a little video on YouTube on how to sew, and make something. Make a dolly dress. Make a I don't know. What would boys want to make? Would they do that?
Nothing.
Nothing. Make a mask, a face mask, But
No,
so,
they would make some sort of weapon of war.
oh, see? But that, you know
They would
what?
make an implement of destruction, which we do all the time. I mean,
Yeah.
there is no piece of trash that cannot be turned into some sort of weapon. So, yeah. Mine do that quite often as well,
My
but
s-
it's always a
my
weapon.
son, we were always making swords and spears, I think, when he was little. Oh, and shields. And used
Right?
a lot of aluminum foil. So,
Yes, yes. And then those progress as they get older. It
yeah.
gets,
Well, he did.
like, oh, here's a metal rod that was a curtain rod that nobody's using at the
Right.
moment. So I'm gonna take it apart, and turn it into some sort of weapon.
Right.
That's the level we are at right
Well,
now.
then I would trace out like cardboard spearheads for him, and we made bows and arrows. Him and his buddy that lived next door. I remember sitting at our kitchen table making bows and arrows for them, and we made kites. My dad always made us kites, so I knew how to make a kite. And so we made kites and all kinds of stuff. So it's a lot of work watching your kids full time. God, I know. I mean, I homeschooled for a while, Murray. After a semester, I was so over it. My kids were like so sick of me. I can't imagine thinking now there may not be school until next January. It's like, oh,
Okay.
God.
So Becky is who we need to like not be like. Well, and it's okay, I guess.
Oh, Becky is
No matter
sewing.
who, no matter who you are,
Yeah. You know,
you need to do you. But for the rest of us, you do not have to do the pandemic the way Martha Stewart or Becky or Karen, who complains to the manager, tells you you have to. All right?
don't
Having a pandemic
Hunger
Hunger
Games.
Games
I think that
style
sounds
fight for a chocolate
fabulous.
frickin' bunny, works for your family, then it works for
Yeah,
your
do it.
family.
My
If dyeing Easter eggs and giggling together like some of the pictures I've seen does it, okay. I'm silently judging you. I really am.
I we,
God bless ya.
yeah, we haven't made Easter eggs in
I
15 years at least.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, and I just want to say though, this is the best part.
Mhm.
There, oftentimes, if you work from home or you're a stay-at-home mom, I've done both, and I've also worked away from home.
Yeah.
So there's sort of this double standard that comes in, and
Yeah.
a stay-at-home mom should have the house clean, dinner should be ready,
No.
everything should be perfect
No.
because you're home all day,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Well, what you're doing all day is you are cleaning up after mini tornadoes, and some of them are
Yeah.
teenage tornadoes, and some of them are husband tornadoes, feral feral creatures that live in your house that destroy everything all the time. I saw a meme the other day that's like cleaning your house with people at home is like brushing your teeth eating Oreos.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
not
What a good
possible,
analogy. Yeah, it's a great
right?
analogy. Right.
So all these people who are like, oh well, and they show pictures of, they'll take pictures of their kids or pictures of their, pets, and their houses are all so neat and picked up. It's really cute.
Yeah.
And now you can watch as we've been living in the same space for longer. And those super tiny, awesome, always neat corners are not so nice and neat.
No, now they're
You're
stacked with
starting to
stuff.
see clothes on the floor, socks, a sweatshirt, and nobody gives a crap. So thank you for bringing a bit of reality into our
Well,
lives.
the other day I think I sent you a video of my dogs fighting over something. Did I send that to you? Yes. Okay.
Yes, yes,
In
yes.
my
And I
living
sent
room.
you one of my dogs howling that the dog park is
Yes.
closed. All right, sorry. I have a complaint here.
What?
I get it. the dog park. Now, Heidi, you said you let your dog run. That's
Yeah.
great. You live on like 30
Well,
acres.
they don't
I
run.
can't,
Yeah.
but I can't do that
Right.
here.
They run the farm
So,
like
like,
they farm yard.
you you can do the chuck it, and it'll
Hmm.
go for 100
Oh
yards, and
yeah.
they will run and go. Well, I don't have that here. Our backyards are small,
Hmm.
so the only place we can do to run them is go to my mom's or take them to the dog parks, and they're really nice, big long runs, and they're fenced in, and there's
Yeah.
small dogs, big dogs. No one has been there. I haven't run into anyone when I would go, but it would let me run my dogs. One time there were people and we stayed far, far away, and then they had to close them down, and that breaks my heart because I'm like, I would say it would be fine, but I have a very high energy 17-year-old son and a very high energy poodle that need to run together.
You know,
And you can walk her, but
yeah.
but that doesn't, she needs more than that, or a run. She will pull you till she gets a good run out, and then she walks perfectly fine. She just has so much puppy energy,
Well, that's
and I just don't know what to do with her.
I don't know either. Is rollerblading still a thing? So that's at one point I had a dog I used to get on my rollerblades and he'd pull me all over the. It was a big white German Shepherd. So and I was a
Yeah,
teenager.
Gigi, if there was a bird, you would die.
Oh
Gigi
no.
is as obsessed with chasing birds.
Yeah.
So we could leave her free in the park. We've got a big green space by our house, and she'll stay in a close proximity. She'll fetch. But if
Mm.
there's a bird, she's in the next subdivision. We can't trust her because
Oh
of
my
the
gosh.
bird.
See, and
I don't know.
you
She's
have four dogs and I have two. And Tiller the this hound dog.
that. I love Tiller, the one I ran over.
Yes, he is he's nuts because he's only a little over a year old and he's like a hound dog and pointer and I never know. When he was going to dog training class, he was not getting really good scores because he can't focus. He's got like dog ADHD. And then we've got the Australian Shepherd who's perfect. He is perfect.
Oh, I know.
And but he is obsessed with fetching. So that's when we use the chuck it. It's for him because he just can't stop. And
That's
yeah,
Gigi, but she doesn't have the space to run like that, and
yeah.
she needs it. She can run what, 50 feet or 50 or maybe 20 yards, and then
Mm.
she has to stop. That's not enough for a dog to get a good sprint going. And
I haven't lived in a subdivision like you live in since my son was born, so that's 30 odd years ago. And I just
right?
I couldn't do it. I told you I said I always envision this single parent with five little kids in a two-bedroom apartment in the city that can't get out and I worry about them because here for me because of what I do for a living, nothing's really changed for me. For me not going out anywhere, it's kind of normal for me anyway, especially at this time of year. So but for you having your three boys home and your husband home all the time and your dogs, all that energy and and I read these posts of people going nuts and I'm like, how come out here and do some work because I am overwhelmed with work, but you can't because we're social distancing.
But you are right. There are things that you can do. You can go for a walk. You can go to the park. You can look at what's growing and out in the world.
Yeah.
There are those things, but you can also make homemade weapons. You
Yeah.
can sharpen butter knives for the pending
Don't make
apocalypse
a
if you want.
shiv.
Melt shit down and turn it into something else. I'm telling you, you can be a steampunk, doomsday prepper, whatever it is. Find something that maybe you've always wanted to try or that you liked doing once upon a time, and maybe introduce your kids to it.
Yeah.
If it's not sewing, I always taught my kids to cook.
Yeah.
Two out of the three love it.
Mm-hmm.
One wants nothing to do with it. He will burn something so he never has to do it again.
Oh no.
Um, yeah. So, but especially through this, the other two have really stepped up, and I'll be making dinner, and I'll just be like, "Oh yeah, hey, I need you to do this," and pull them in
Yeah.
and be like, "Oh, you're doing this and this," and now like 3 or 4 nights a week, the oldest one and I cook a meal, and we find what we have in the house and put together spices and recipes and see what we can
Nice.
substitute, and he loves it,
I
and so for him that's great. For my middle one, it's music. So find something new and learn something together, maybe. Like I said, weapon making is an excellent skill to have.
Yeah. I said, I think we talked a little bit ago about how I used to do that with my son all the time. And he later on went to some club where they would dress up as like a cosplay thing. It didn't last very long. I think he went 2 or 3 times, but it was just too nerdy even for him.
LARPing,
Huh?
live action role play.
Yeah, but I don't. It was like a club. Nero, is that the is that a thing? I'm pulling that out of like he was in his late teens or early 20s when he went a few times, and I remember him digging out some of the spears and stuff we made. But I mean, my son and I, when it snows, we used to play hillbilly biathlon. I think I told you about hillbilly biathlon, right?
I don't think you did. No, tell
Oh,
me.
well, we had a little bit of snow today, but not enough. You get out your cross
Did
country
it
skis.
involve losing a tooth, drinking,
No.
driving over your dog backwards?
No, it involved
Oh,
paintball
okay.
guns, targets in our woods, and cross country skiing. So if you've ever watched biathlon, people they have to cross
Nice.
country ski, and your heart rate's up, and
Yes,
you're
and then you
shaking,
shoot.
and then you got to be real quiet. You got to get your heart rate down, take a deep breath, and shoot for the target. So we would do that with the paintball guns, and we would get going with the paintball guns and then shoot stuff. And the problem is that after a while, I just would, because he would be beating me, so I'd cut through the woods and just bam, 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 bam with the paintball gun. Because I'm that kind of mom, you know. But
But yeah,
it's
Heidi, you're right. You have an advantage being out there that
yeah,
we don't have in
yeah,
more suburban, urban area. Now,
yeah,
and that makes the situation even tougher for people who are stuck inside.
yeah.
Where I grew up, I could go outside and hike through the woods and be at Starved Rock in 2 miles of a hike,
Wow.
like through my own woods to Starved Rock.
Yeah,
So, I work outside. My neighbors have to think I'm so creepy because whether it's snowing, raining, hot, I'm always outside because I can't do indoors. I
yeah,
don't like darkness. I need light.
yeah.
That's how I was raised, but a lot of kids don't have that. And
Mm-mm.
when you're taking away parks, which I understand the equipment and things,
Yeah.
we have to start thinking of ways that we can. Well, if Michigan doesn't ruin it for everyone,
Mi-
freaking
I
idiots.
know. Well, in today up in Michigan, the tea, what's left of the Tea Party, and the hardcore Trump supporters were marching in Michigan, and actually they had some problems in Ohio too, with the
They were
marching.
doing a quote organized
Yeah.
across the
Oh,
country,
yeah.
I
You know what? It
think,
was down in Springfield today too,
response.
and people that want to go back
Yeah.
to work and they want to break the quarantine. Look, we have to be in this together, because if you,
Okay, freeze. I'm sorry. I just gotta say this. The best thing is watching people protesting through social distancing. Like they're like this far apart, and half of them had masks and gloves. So you want to reopen the country, but you're adhering to the rules you want to tear down with.
I
I I just stupidity. We don't teach logic. Teach Forget it. Don't plant a seed unless it's a marijuana seed. Don't watch that grow. Don't turn your paper napkins into doilies that Martha Stewart would be proud of. No. Practical skills here, people. I'm telling you, that's what we're going to need because we have idiots out there.
yeah. Yeah, I agree. Just watching what was going on in Michigan, and my husband sent me a link to pictures of zombies from Walking Dead, and he said this is what they'll look like in less than 14 days because they'll be sick and diseased, and using up all the resources. So if I were,
But remember,
yeah,
they won't get that sick. The incubation period can be up to 14 days. So
yeah,
I would say when we'll see an uptick, how many people were there? Do we even
like
know?
500. It wasn't huge.
Oh,
It wasn't like one of our rallies that we go to where there's hundreds,
right?
thousands, and tens of thousands of
But
people.
I mean, still, come on, you idiots.
Well,
It will be interesting to see if there isn't a case between 14 and 21 days from now.
ladies and
Let's
gentlemen,
fight.
this would be a great time to teach your children about Darwin and the theory of evolution because because Darwin's going to kick in and kick
Hey,
some of their
hey,
asses. Yeah.
practical usage for math. I suck at this remote education thing, but I can tell you every day we sit down and I tell my kids there are 12.7 million people in the state of Illinois. We have tested less than
Yeah.
0.004% of
Yeah.
those people. How many people have we tested? We do
Not,
math with pandemic situations. So if 20% of all the people that have been tested have tested positive for the disease,
mm-hmm.
and 10,000 of those people die, or 2,000 of those people die, what percentage of deaths to infection rate? Like, there's lots of things you can teach your kids, guys. Practical.
Well, I think that this would be a great time to teach civics at home, voting for who's going to make dinner, voting for, I don't care who's going to walk the dog today.
It's
No.
That's a mistake young parents make. Frick that. There is no voting. It is a dictatorship.
Oh, we had a
I am the
chore board.
boss.
It was like magnetic, and they had to move their little thing over.
You are freaking Becky. You're like
No,
Becky.
I had
You're
I
the
had
Becky
two
parent.
I had
No,
two children
no.
8 years apart. It was like having
Mm-mm,
two only
mm-mm.
children, and I was a work at home
No,
mom.
no. You
No,
don't get to count. You do not. You don't get. You don't count.
it was the only way we could stay organized, and I could keep it in front of them. You know, so and it's not like I was sewing matching
Becky.
pinafores for Rebecca and I. It never happened.
I'm just gonna start calling you Becky.
That's my sister's name.
Oh, that's right. Sorry,
And
my
I don't
bad.
think she's one of
That's
those
her name.
crafty Beckys either. She's a very hardworking woman. So helping teen parents become successful like her. But there's so many things that you can do. I mean, I talked about putting my recipe for making auger plates so you can test people for pandemic stuff. Because that's the kind of mom I was. Why do I have a cold? Let's make auger plates and find out, So, but and this is, I don't know, it's probably why my kids are so screwed up. They always think it into a bigger fashion than other kids their age. I don't know. It's I don't know. They seem happy and well adjusted. They were good
Okay.
people.
Okay.
So,
So on that note,
yeah.
Rebecca and Christian, I
Yes.
will clip this part of the video so you can blame this all on your mother. This is what
I
raised you.
I told
Just so
them
you know, Becky raised you.
I told them whatever. No, that would be their aunt. I told them, I said, you'll have lots of things to talk about on Dr. Phil. My parents didn't, we always knew where they were. We always had lights on. It's just like my upbringing. I always knew where my parents were. I always knew there would be dinner on the table. I always knew that the lights would be on. I had a very safe upbringing.
Well,
But
there's a difference between that and weaving your own placemats out of
no,
frond leaves, which is some
no,
crap I can see you doing. Oh, come
no.
on, nature girl.
Are you
Camp
kidding me?
Heidi. You totally would do that crap.
At Horsemanship Summer Day Camp, every year we paint horseshoes. And I used to get pictures for the kids and put them in like a little picture frame. Now it just turned into like a trivet they can hang on their wall or put on their desk. But we have done that same craft project, and I have tried. But I don't know how to do anything crafty. That was my mother-in-law. She was good at that stuff. I've been since I was 6 or 7. I've been in the barn with my horses. That's my thing. Ask me a horse question. I can answer it. So,
I know you can. I know you can.
I'm like a one-trick pony, like Cookie, my pony. She's so cute. I'll post a picture on her Facebook page and I'll tweet it
Yeah,
out.
and I'll post our pandemic Easter. So the whole
Yes.
point of today's show is just to let you know wherever you are, whether you need to be judgy to Becky, who is posting on social media how every day at home
The
with her kids
matching
is a
hair
blessing,
bows that they made, and
and they've
they did their
already done
nails.
like all of the homework for the whole school year and are now on the next year, and their 2 month old is speaking full sentences in German and English.
In
Yeah,
French.
Becky. Okay.
Yeah.
Don't pay attention to Becky. If you are Becky, I'm sorry. I'm not going to pay attention to you because you just annoy me. Um, but if you are annoyed with people, just remember to kind of smile, like my friend on Facebook who's jumping in on every post with this forced enthusiasm because you can kind of tell subtly she's trying to keep her shit together. I'm gonna just go, hey, and pass that post and not call her out on it. So look for creative ways. Find something. You don't have to do anything. If it's rebuilding, like I have two of my boys and I love anime, and we found a new anime series that we can watch. So every night it's like anime, putting it on.
I just could
So
never
it
watch
doesn't have
that.
to be anything. Oh my god, I love anime,
Yeah.
but I'm a total nerd. So
Yeah.
I'm like super geek, and but whatever it is, whether it's making dinner or painting a horseshoe or weaving fronds into paper.
Homemade clay. Homemade
Even if you're
foam.
Becky,
Fun to do.
do
Didn't you ever make
do
clay with your kids?
Becky. That's the kind of shit I'm talking about, Becky. Nobody wants to make homemade clay.
Yes, it's
Okay, the
fun.
kids
And then you
don't
get out
even want to make.
your paints and you paint it, and then but you have to bake it in the oven before you paint it. No, you never did
Uh-huh.
that? Really? Not very
Okay,
talented.
thanks for joining the Heartland Mamas.
Okay, so find us online. Find us anywhere you get your podcast. We just wanted to do a fun show and give you some ideas and tell you how we're coping with stuff because every day people are having an issue with coping. The other thing I'm going to do is post on our Facebook page and tweet out the number for mental health because a lot of people are really stressing out, and it's a number you can just text if you live in the state of Illinois. Illinois is kind of cutting edge right now because we have such an excellent governor, and these things really,
Amen.
yeah. I mean, our curve, we're starting to bend the curve already, and we were the second state to do shelter in place. And it's long and it's tedious, and I think we're about 4 weeks in now, and we still have a few weeks to go. And I know we're sick of it. We're sick of being home. I would like to go out to lunch with my neighbors that we go out to lunch frequently. I would like to know that I have a horse show season this year, and it doesn't look like we're going to.
I'd like to know about a soccer season. Trust
Right.
me.
And we're all so up in the air, but if we find something amusing to do that we haven't done before and can laugh at it if it fails miserably because it's hilarious.
Heidi, you just hit it on the head. Even if you're a Becky, you have to be able to laugh at yourself, and that is probably the only thing that has kept this house from devolving into Lord of the Flies is the fact that we can all laugh at ourselves and
Yes.
make fun of each other and ourselves.
Well, when it comes down to it, all we have is each other right now. It's all we have.
Right.
So we have to be able to laugh at what we do wrong. And I see all these TikTok videos where families are singing and dancing together. I thought, yeah, my family has no talent, so we will never do that.
I love TikTok.
I,
I think TikTok is great. My kids don't think I'm good at TikTok, but I like it.
it's not for our age group, or certainly not
Yeah,
mine.
my age group. I don't know what you're talking about, Grandma Becky.
I don't have any grandkids.
Back off on
God, I
that,
wish I
Grandma Becky.
did. I wish I did. I told you I've got friends of mine that have their grandchildren, have had their grandchildren now
I
with them
know.
for over a month, and they are. The one lady says she's losing her hair. Her hand to God, she goes, "My hair is falling out. I can't do this anymore." I feel so sorry for her. And they live in suburbia. They live in downtown Ottawa, and they're just losing it. She can't, and they're toddlers. She's got toddlers in downtown Ottawa in a little tiny house, and all the parks are closed. Oh my God. She goes, I was thinking about buying a trampoline for the kids. And then she said, I'm sure they'll fall off and get hurt. And then we'll have to go to the emergency room. I'm like, don't buy a trampoline.
Exactly. Exactly. Yep.
I just,
We were just talking about that today. How many times have you said, don't do that? We can't go to the ER right now. You don't want to go to the hospital right now. Don't do that.
I know.
It comes out of our mouths daily.
All the time. All the time. Well, mostly it's my husband saying stuff to me. Don't do that. Or my daughter was driving the tractor, big tractor, really close to the ravine the other day. I'm like, Rebecca, get away from there, So it's not like the Bobcat where you can spin it around on a dime.
No.
Because that's what we usually do. So anyway, we better wrap it up, Murri. We're running over our time. So thank you so much for tuning in. I hope we gave you some fun ideas and shared a few silly stories with you. I think pandemic, zombie, Hunger Games, Easter sounds like it was kick-ass.
It was, I got to tell you, there were a couple of neighbors whose houses back up against the park. Because we went to the green space in the park. We didn't touch anything. And they were having a ball watching us. They thought it was the funniest thing. They were some older, like, senior type neighbors. Mm-hmm. So if we gave them a good laugh,
it's so worth it. I mean, I saw the videos that you posted and the pictures. It was hilarious. So, okay.
Yeah. Although, you know what Henry called me? Henry calls me a bargain rate
zombie killer.
Harley Quinn instead of Harley Quinn.
Oh.
I'm like, you little turd, budget. That was good. A discount Harley Quinn. Nice. Well, again, remember, you can find us we are part of the Demcast Network, proud demcastusa.com.
Yep.
You can find us on any place you get your
podcasts. So Stitcher,
yeah,
Apple, iTunes, we're carried on every platform.
We're everywhere.
And if you want to see these faces, Murri's much more fun to look at.
Yeah, share. Come on, help us build. We want to start doing some live stuff.
We're going to do some live streaming, and our next show, we're going to bring a very special guest on and try to do. We're doing a three-way, Murri.
The mamas and a threesome.
Yeah, we're doing a threesome. So
yeah,
our
the
next
mamas
one,
are doing a threesome.
It's going to be.
So tune in soon to us, and we will keep you amused, entertained, enlightened, and hopefully give you some hope in this hopeless time.
So take care. Heartland Mamas, MAMAS.com. Take care now. See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I'm driving this thing, so I need a minute to get us out of here.
You're always driving, girl.